The restaurant reservation confirmation glows on my phone screen. Table for 6, Chen family birthday dinner, 7 p.m. today. I'm sitting alone at the elegantly set table, watching other families laugh and clink glasses around me. It's 8:47 p.m. They're not coming. Again, my fingers tremble as I cancel the order I'd placed 20 minutes ago. Mom's favorite honey garlic salmon, Dad's preferred steak, my sister Lily's gluten-free pasta. The waiter's pitying smile burns worse than the candle flames flickering on my untouched birthday cake. This wasn't the first time they'd forgotten me, but it was the first time I remembered dying alone in my previous life, abandoned in a hospital bed while they attended Lily's gallery opening instead. The familiar weight of invisibility settles over my shoulders like a shroud. In my first life, I'd spent 32 years being the forgotten daughter, the background character in their golden child narrative. I'd died of cancer at 32, alone, while they celebrated Lily's engagement across town. But somehow, impossibly, I'm 18 again, sitting in this same restaurant where they abandoned me the first time. I'm reborn, but they're making the same choices. I force a smile at the waiter and order champagne. If they think I'm still the pathetic girl who begs for their attention, they're about to learn otherwise. My phone buzzes with a text from Mom. Sorry, sweetheart, Lily's investor meeting ran late. Rain check? No mention of my birthday. No acknowledgement that today marks 19 years since I entered their world. The message arrives exactly at 9 p.m., just like in my previous timeline. Perfectly timed to avoid any guilt while ensuring maximum emotional damage. I screenshot the message and save it to a folder I've been building since my rebirth 6 months ago. Evidence of their neglect, documentation of their priorities. In my first life, I made the mistake of giving them endless chances, believing their promises that next time would be different. This time, I'm keeping score. The champagne arrives, crisp and golden. I raise the glass to my reflection in the restaurant's window. Happy birthday to me, I whisper, and something cold and calculating sparkles in my eyes that wasn't there in my previous life. They want to treat me like I don't exist. Perfect. Ghosts can move through the world unseen, and they can accomplish remarkable things when no one's watching. I slip a $100 bill under my champagne glass and walk out into the warm June evening. The city lights blur through my unshed tears, but I don't let them fall. Tears are for victims, and I refuse to be one again. 3 blocks away, I step into the lobby of the Meridian Tower, the most exclusive residential building in the city. The concierge, Marcus, greets me with a knowing smile. Good evening, Miss Chen. How did the family dinner go? Exactly as expected, I reply, my voice steady. Is the penthouse ready for viewing? Of course, Mr. Sterling is waiting upstairs. Marcus hands me a key card with practiced discretion. Congratulations on your birthday, by the way. 18 is quite a milestone. Someone remembered. Someone who's known me for exactly 3 weeks cared enough to note the date my own family forgot. The irony tastes bitter and sweet. The elevator carries me to the 42nd floor in whispered silence. The penthouse doors open to reveal floor-to-ceiling windows showcasing the entire city, a sprawling tapestry of lights and possibilities. David Sterling, the building's owner, extends his hand with genuine warmth. Miss Chen, welcome to your new home. His smile reaches his eyes, unlike the practiced expressions I've grown accustomed to from my family. I have to say, your application was remarkable. Most 18-year-olds don't have the financial portfolio to purchase a place like this outright. I shake his hand, my grip firm and confident. Most 18-year-olds don't know they're going to die young, I say simply. His eyebrows raise, but he doesn't press for details. Some truths are too vast for small talk. What David doesn't know is that I've spent the last 6 months methodically liquidating every asset from my previous life that I could access early. The scholarship trust fund my grandmother left me, the stocks I'd inherited at 18, even the life insurance payout from a policy I'd taken out at 17. All of it converted into cold, hard cash through carefully orchestrated legal maneuvers. The penthouse is breathtaking. 3 bedrooms, a massive living space, a kitchen that would make professional chefs weep with envy. But what captures my attention is the balcony, where a small table and 2 chairs sit overlooking the city. It's intimate, personal, everything my family dinner wasn't. I'll take it, I say, pulling out my checkbook. David's eyes widen as I write the amount in clean, decisive strokes. 7 figures paid in full. The first public move in a game my family doesn't even know they're playing. That night, I sit alone in my new penthouse living room, surrounded by boxes and the sweet silence of independence. My phone has been buzzing sporadically. Missed calls from mom, concerned texts from dad asking if I'm feeling all right after leaving the restaurant early. Nothing from Lily, of course. She's probably still in her investor meeting, charming rich men with daddy issues and her artistic vision. I pour myself another glass of champagne and open my laptop. The web page for Henderson and Associates, the city's most prestigious private investigation firm, fills the screen. If my family wants to treat me like I'm invisible, they won't mind me learning all their secrets. After all, you can't invade the privacy of someone who doesn't exist in your world. The consultation form is surprisingly simple. Name, contact information, subjects of interest. I list my family members one by one, my fingers steady on the keyboard. Mom, Dad, Lily, even my Uncle Robert, who manages Dad's business accounts. In my first life, I'd been too naive to see the financial irregularities, the shell companies, the carefully hidden affairs. This time, I'm choosing to see everything. I submit the form and schedule a meeting for tomorrow morning. The retainer fee is substantial, but money has become just another weapon in my arsenal. I learned in my previous life that love without leverage is just wishful thinking. This time, I'm collecting all the leverage I can find. My reflection stares back at me from the darkened window, and for a moment, I see both versions of myself. The desperate girl who died begging for their attention, and the calculating woman who's about to make them regret their choices. The transformation is already beginning. The next morning arrives with golden sunlight streaming through my new floor-to-ceiling windows. I dress carefully for my meeting with the private investigator, a crisp navy blazer, tailored slacks, the kind of outfit that says serious money without screaming nouveau riche. Image is everything in this game, and I need to be seen as a client worth taking seriously. Henderson and Associates occupies the top floor of a granite tower downtown, all mahogany furniture and leather-bound law books. Margaret Henderson herself greets me in her corner office, a silver-haired woman with keen eyes and the bearing of someone who's spent decades uncovering truths people would kill to keep buried. "Miss Chen," she says, gesturing to a chair across from her imposing desk, "your request was quite comprehensive. May I ask what prompted such an extensive background investigation into your own family?" I meet her gaze steadily. "Let's call it due diligence. I'm about to inherit significant assets, and I want to ensure my investments are protected." It's not entirely a lie. In my first life, I'd inherited everything when my parents died in a car accident 5 years after my death. Now I'm simply accelerating the timeline. Margaret nods approvingly. "Prudent. Family money can bring out the worst in people." She opens a leather portfolio and reviews my list. "Your parents, sister, and uncle. Any particular areas of concern?" "Everything," I say without hesitation. "Financial irregularities, personal relationships, business practices, hidden assets. I want a complete picture." I slide a cashier's check across her desk. "This should cover the initial investigation." Her eyebrows rise as she sees the amount. "This is quite generous, Miss Chen. Are you expecting to find significant problems?" "I'm expecting to find the truth," I reply. "What I do with it afterward depends on what you discover." 3 days later, Margaret calls with her preliminary findings. The news is even more devastating than I'd hoped. Dad's construction company has been systematically overbilling government contracts for the past 3 years. Mom's charity foundation has been funneling donations into offshore accounts. Lily's art career is entirely funded by a married investor who's been embezzling from his own company to support her lifestyle. "The financial exposure is significant," Margaret explains during our follow-up meeting. "If any of this becomes public, your family could face criminal charges, civil lawsuits, and complete financial ruin." I lean back in my chair, a cold smile playing at my lips. "And how difficult would it be for this information to become public?" "Miss Chen," Margaret says carefully, "I should remind you that my firm operates within strict ethical boundaries. We gather information, we don't weaponize it. Of course not. I agree smoothly. But hypothetically, if someone were to tip off the appropriate authorities about these irregularities, the investigations would follow naturally, wouldn't they? Margaret's expression remains professionally neutral, but I catch the slight nod. She understands the game we're playing, even if she can't participate directly. That evening, I stand on my penthouse balcony with a glass of wine, watching the city pulse with life below. In my first life, I'd spent my 19th birthday crying in my childhood bedroom, wondering why my family could never make time for me. Tonight, I hold their futures in my hands like playing cards, each secret a potential trump. My phone buzzes with a text from Lily. Hey sis, want to grab coffee tomorrow? I feel like we never talk anymore. The message is perfectly timed. Exactly 1 week after they forgot my birthday. Just long enough for the guilt to ferment into obligation. I respond immediately. I'd love to. Let's meet at Cafe Luna on 5th Street. 2 p.m. The location is strategic. A trendy spot where Lily likes to be seen, close enough to her gallery that she can show off, public enough that she'll have to maintain her sweet sister facade. Her reply comes quickly. Perfect! Can't wait to catch up! 3 exclamation points. She's either genuinely excited or overcompensating for something. Given what I know about her financial situation, I suspect the latter. I spend the next morning preparing for our coffee date like a general planning a campaign. I dress down deliberately, jeans, a simple sweater, minimal makeup. I want to look exactly like the invisible little sister she's always known, the one who poses no threat to her carefully constructed world. Cafe Luna is bustling when I arrive, filled with the kind of beautiful people who lunch late and discuss their creative projects in voices calculated to be overheard. I spot Lily immediately at a corner table, her platinum blonde hair perfectly tousled, her outfit a masterclass in expensive casual wear. She waves enthusiastically when she sees me, the picture of sisterly affection. Maya, she exclaims, jumping up to hug me. The embrace feels practiced, performative. You look great. Are you doing something different with your hair? Just let it grow out, I say, settling into the chair across from her. You look amazing, as always. How's the art world treating you? Her smile falters for just a microsecond before returning to full wattage. Oh, you know how it is. Feast or famine. But I'm working on something really exciting. A new installation that's going to change everything. I nod encouragingly while studying her face for tells. The slight tension around her eyes, the way her fingers drum against her coffee cup, the designer handbag that's subtly positioned to hide a small stain on her shirt. She's stressed about money, just like Margaret's investigation suggested. That sounds incredible, I say. Are you getting good support from your investor? What was his name again? Richardson? The color drains from her face so quickly I almost feel sorry for her. Almost. How did you... yes, Richard has been very supportive of my work. Mom mentioned him at dinner last week. I lie smoothly. She seemed impressed by his commitment to the arts. I take a sip of my latte, watching her process this information. In her mind, she's probably wondering what else Mom might have mentioned, what other details of her secret relationship might have leaked. Right, yes, she stammers. He's married, it's strictly professional. Of course, I agree. I'm sure his wife appreciates his dedication to supporting young artists. The word wife hits like a small explosion. Lily's hand trembles slightly as she reaches for her coffee. Maya, she says, her voice taking on a wheedling tone I remember from childhood. Speaking of support, I was wondering if you might be able to help me out with something small. Just a temporary loan until my next piece sells. And there it is. The real reason for this sudden sisterly bonding session. She needs money, and she's desperate enough to ask the sister she's ignored for years. I let the moment stretch, watching her squirm. How much do you need? I ask finally. Just 5,000, she says quickly. I know it sounds like a lot, but I'll pay you back as soon as... Done, I interrupt, pulling out my checkbook. Her eyes widen as I write the amount in clean strokes. Consider it an early birthday gift. Maya, This is incredibly generous, thank you. For a moment, her gratitude seems genuine. Then the calculation returns to her eyes. Actually, if you could make it out to cash, that would be easier for me to deposit. I tear out the check and hand it to her, watching as she folds it carefully into her wallet. She has no intention of paying me back, just like she never returned the money she borrowed from our parents over the years. But this time, I'm not giving her a gift, I'm buying evidence. A paper trail that will be very difficult to explain when the authorities start investigating her finances. I should run, she says, glancing at her phone. Richard, my gallery manager, is expecting me back soon. She stands and hugs me again, this time with genuine warmth. We should do this more often. I've missed hanging out with my little sister. I watch her walk away, her stride confident and carefree, the check burning a hole in her designer purse. She has no idea that I've just handed her a noose disguised as a lifeline. In my first life, I'd given her money whenever she asked, enabling her selfishness out of misguided love. This time, every dollar comes with strings attached. That evening, I receive a call from Margaret Henderson. Miss Chen, I have some additional information that might interest you. It seems your Uncle Robert has been in contact with several bankruptcy attorneys. Preliminary discussions only, but the timing is curious given your father's business difficulties. The final piece of the puzzle clicks into place. Uncle Robert isn't just managing Dad's accounts, he's preparing to cut and run when the government contracts investigation inevitably surfaces. He's planning to let my parents take the fall while he disappears with whatever assets he can liquidate. How long do we estimate before the authorities become involved? I ask. Based on the patterns we've observed, I'd say 6 months to a year. These investigations move slowly until they don't. Margaret pauses. Miss Chen, I feel compelled to ask, are you planning to warn your family about what's coming? I stand on my balcony looking out at the city lights that mirror the stars I used to wish on as a child. No, I say quietly. I'm planning to watch. 3 weeks pass in careful observation. I attend family dinners when invited, playing the role of the sweet, naive younger daughter while mentally cataloging every lie, every misdirection, every moment they choose Lily's needs over basic courtesy. They mention my new apartment only in passing, assuming I'm renting a studio with roommates like a normal college student. They never ask to see it, never express curiosity about how I'm affording it. I'm invisible to them, which makes gathering intelligence remarkably easy. The 4th week brings an unexpected development. Dad calls me directly, his voice uncharacteristically strained. Maya, sweetheart, could you meet me for lunch tomorrow? There's something I need to discuss with you. We meet at his usual restaurant, an upscale steakhouse where he conducts most of his business dealings. He looks older than his 53 years, gray creeping into his temples and stress lines etched around his eyes. He orders his usual whiskey neat before the conversation even begins. Never a good sign. Maya, he starts, then stops, running his hand through his hair. I need to ask you something, and I want you to be completely honest with me. Of course, Dad. Have you been talking to anyone about our family, about the business? His eyes search my face for tells. There have been some inquiries that have made me concerned. My heart rate increases, but I keep my expression puzzled and innocent. What kind of inquiries? Government auditors. They're asking questions about contracts, bidding processes, financial records. He takes a long sip of his whiskey. Maya, if someone has been feeding them information, if someone in our family has been disloyal. The threat hangs unspoken between us. He suspects someone is talking, but he doesn't suspect me. I'm still the invisible daughter, too naive to understand complex business dealings, too insignificant to pose a real threat. Dad, that's terrible, I say, leaning forward with concern. Do you think it could be a competitor trying to hurt the business? Maybe, he says, but his tone suggests he doesn't believe it. Maya, I need you to promise me something. If anyone at all, approaches you asking questions about our family, about money, about anything, you call me immediately. Don't answer anything, don't sign anything, just call me. I promise, I lie smoothly. But Dad, are we in serious trouble? His smile is strained. Nothing we can't handle, sweetheart. The Chen family takes care of its own. The irony of his words is staggering. He's asking for loyalty from the daughter he's consistently ignored, expecting protection from the family member he's never protected. That night, I call Margaret Henderson from my penthouse, the city lights twinkling below like a constellation of possibilities. They know something's coming, I report. My father suspects an inside source. That's not unexpected, Margaret replies. Government investigations have a way of creating paranoia. Are you concerned about your safety? Should I be? Your father's business associates include some unsavory characters, men who handle problems decisively when their interests are threatened. Margaret's voice carries a note of genuine concern. Miss Chen, it might be wise to distance yourself from the family until this plays out. I consider her advice, weighing the risks against the satisfaction of watching my revenge unfold up close. I appreciate the concern, but I need to see this through. They've spent 19 years treating me like I don't matter. I want them to understand exactly who they were ignoring. Very well, but please be careful. Desperate people make dangerous choices. The next morning brings news that accelerates my timeline dramatically. Lily calls in tears, her voice barely intelligible through the sobbing. Maya, something terrible has happened. Richard's been arrested. His wife found out about us and went to the police about his missing money. They're saying he embezzled millions to fund my art career. I sit in my kitchen, sipping coffee and watching the sunrise paint the city in shades of gold. Oh my God, Lily, are you okay? Are you in trouble? I don't know, she wails. The FBI wants to interview me. They have records of all the money he gave me, all the exhibitions he funded. They think I was involved, but I swear I didn't know where the money was coming from. Of course you didn't, I soothe, though we both know she's lying. Have you told Mom and Dad? I can't. Dad's already dealing with his business problems, and Mom's been so stressed about the charity audit. Maya, I'm scared. What if they arrest me too? The charity audit is news to me, though not surprising given Margaret's findings. Mom's foundation has been playing fast and loose with donation money for years. The walls are closing in on all of them simultaneously, and they still don't realize I'm the one who started the dominoes falling. Lily, listen to me, I say, injecting confidence into my voice. You need a good lawyer, the best money can buy. Do you have enough saved up for legal fees? I have nothing, she admits through fresh tears. Everything I own came from Richard. My apartment, my car, even my clothes. It's all evidence now. Perfect. Lily, I want to help you. I can loan you money for a lawyer, for living expenses, whatever you need. But I need you to be completely honest with me about everything. No more secrets, no more lies. You would do that for me? Her voice breaks with genuine emotion. After the way I've treated you, after how selfish I've been? You're my sister, I say simply. Family takes care of family. The words taste like ashes, but they serve my purpose. I need her dependent on me, grateful to me, willing to tell me everything as her world collapses. Maya, I've been a terrible sister, I know that. I took you for granted, and I'm so sorry. We can talk about that later, I say. Right now, let's focus on getting you a lawyer. I know someone who might be able to help. I give her Margaret Henderson's contact information, presenting it as a family lawyer recommendation, rather than the private investigator who's been documenting our family's crimes for months. Lily accepts gratefully, too panicked to question the coincidence. After we hang up, I pour myself a glass of champagne and toast my reflection in the kitchen window. In my first life, I would have given Lily money out of misguided loyalty and received nothing but continued neglect in return. This time, every act of generosity is calculated to tighten the noose around their necks. The FBI interview happens 3 days later. Lily calls me afterward, her voice hollow with shock. They know everything, Maya, about Richard, about the money, about my expenses. They showed me bank records, receipts, photographs of us together. They have evidence I never even knew existed. What did you tell them? The truth. That I didn't know he was stealing money, that I thought he was just a wealthy art collector who believed in my work. She laughs bitterly. They didn't believe me, why would they? I lived like a millionaire on an artist's income and never asked questions. Are they charging you with anything? Not yet. But they made it clear I'm under investigation for money laundering and conspiracy. Maya, I could go to prison. I make appropriate sympathetic noises while mentally calculating the timeline. If Lily's arrest is imminent, Dad's government contract investigation can't be far behind. Mom's charity audit will likely accelerate once the FBI starts connecting the family financial networks. Lily, have you told Mom and Dad about the interview? I tried, but they're dealing with their own crisis. The government froze Dad's business accounts yesterday. Mom's been meeting with lawyers all week about the foundation. Uncle Robert disappeared 2 days ago, just vanished without a word. The satisfaction that floods through me is intoxicating. Uncle Robert's disappearance confirms Margaret's intelligence about his bankruptcy preparations. He's cut and run, leaving my parents to face the consequences of their shared corruption. In my first life, he would have been at my funeral, offering empty condolences while secretly calculating his inheritance. This time, he's revealed himself as the coward he always was. Lily, I say carefully, maybe it's time for a family meeting? We need to figure out how to handle this together. You're right, she agrees. Can you call them? I don't think I can handle any more bad news today. I make the calls, playing the concerned daughter while arranging what will essentially be my family's last supper. We agree to meet at their house tomorrow evening, neutral ground where they feel safe, comfortable enough to let their masks slip completely. I spend the morning of our family meeting choosing my outfit with the same care a general selects armor for battle. I settle on a simple black dress, understated jewelry, minimal makeup. I want to look like the grieving daughter, concerned about her family's troubles, not the architect of their destruction. The family home feels different when I arrive. The energy that once radiated wealth and success has curdled into something desperate and fearful. Dad answers the door looking like he's aged 5 years and 5 weeks. Mom emerges from the kitchen with the hollow-eyed stare of someone who's realized their carefully constructed world is collapsing. Lily sits curled in the corner of the living room sofa, her designer clothes rumpled, her perfect hair unwashed. Thank you for coming, sweetheart, Mom says, hugging me tightly. I know this is all very overwhelming. Of course, Mom, we're family. We stick together through tough times. The words feel like broken glass in my mouth, but they land exactly as intended. Mom's eyes well up with tears. Dad pours himself a whiskey and settles into his leather armchair, the throne from which he once ruled his construction empire. Maya, I want you to understand that whatever you hear tonight, whatever we discuss, it cannot leave this room. Our family's survival depends on absolute discretion. I nod solemnly, the picture of loyal daughter, while the voice recorder in my purse captures every word. The government is conducting what amounts to a witch hunt, he continues. They're making accusations about contract irregularities, claiming we've been overcharging for materials and labor. It's all politically motivated harassment designed to destroy successful businessmen. Is there any truth to the accusations? I ask innocently. Dad's face hardens. Maya, sometimes in business you have to be creative with your interpretation of regulations. Every successful contractor operates in gray areas. The government knows this. They just chose to target us. Because of Uncle Robert? Robert was supposed to handle the financial documentation, Mom says bitterly. He promised us everything was legitimate, that he'd structured the contracts to be completely legal. Now he's vanished and left us holding the bag. What about your foundation, Mom? Mom's composure finally cracks. Tears stream down her cheeks as she explains how Uncle Robert convinced her to route charity donations through offshore accounts for tax optimization. How he assured her the complex financial arrangements were perfectly legal. How she never questioned his expertise because she trusted family. We gave him everything, she whispers. Our business, our charity, our financial future. And he betrayed us. The irony is overwhelming. They're devastated by Uncle Robert's betrayal, the violation of family trust, the abuse of their loyalty. They understand exactly how it feels to be discarded by someone who claimed to love them. They just don't recognize that they've done the same thing to me for 19 years. What about Lily's situation? I ask, turning to my sister. Lily raises her head from her hands, her eyes red and swollen. Richard's attorney contacted me today. He's cooperating with the FBI, telling them everything about our relationship, about the money he gave me. He's throwing me under the bus to reduce his own sentence. Are they offering you a plea deal? Dad asks. Yes, but it requires me to testify about how I spent the money. Who else knew about it, whether other family members were involved? Lily looks directly at our parents. They want me to implicate you two in money laundering. The room falls silent except for the ticking of the grandfather clock in the corner. The same clock that chimed midnight on my birthday while they partied at Lily's gallery opening. The same clock that marked the hours I spent dying alone in my first life while they celebrated elsewhere. We won't let that happen, Dad says finally. The Chen family protects its own. How? Lily challenges. With what money? Our accounts are frozen. Our assets are being seized. Uncle Robert stole everything liquid and disappeared. We can't even afford proper legal representation. We'll figure something out, Mom insists. We'll sell the house if we have to. We'll liquidate everything to pay for the best lawyers money can buy. I watch this display of family solidarity with fascination. In crisis, they've finally come together, finally recognized their mutual dependence. They're willing to sacrifice everything for each other, everything except acknowledging the daughter they've ignored, the sister they've dismissed, the family member whose birthday they forgot while their world burned around them. Maya, Dad says, turning to me with desperate eyes. I know this is a lot to ask, but we need you to stay strong through this. Don't talk to anyone outside the family. Don't answer any questions from investigators. We have to present a united front. Of course, Dad, whatever you need. And if you could help with some expenses, Mom adds hesitantly. Just until we get the accounts unfrozen. I know you're just starting college, but anything you could spare? They still think I'm the broke college student scraping by on loans and part-time jobs. They have no idea I'm sitting in a penthouse worth more than their house, holding enough liquid assets to solve all their problems. More importantly, they have no idea I'm the reason they have problems to solve. I wish I could help more, I lie. But I only have a few thousand in my savings account. You're welcome to it, but it won't make much difference. Every little bit helps, Dad says gratefully. Maya, you've always been our rock. The stable one, the reliable one. We're going to need that strength more than ever. I almost laugh at the description. I'm their rock because I've been invisible, undemanding, easy to ignore. I'm reliable because I've never asked for anything, never caused problems, never competed for their attention. They're praising me for the very qualities that allowed them to neglect me for years. I'll always be here for this family, I say, the words technically true, while carrying a meaning they'll never understand. The meeting ends with awkward hugs and promises to stay in touch daily. As I drive back to my penthouse, I replay the evening's conversations in my mind. They're scared, desperate, and finally unified. All the things I used to dream our family could be. The tragedy is that it took their complete destruction to achieve it. That night, I stand on my balcony with a glass of wine, looking out at the city where my family is probably lying awake, worrying about their future. In my first life, I spent countless nights in my childhood bedroom staring at the same skyline, wondering why I wasn't enough to earn their love. Tonight, I know the answer. I was always enough. They were simply too selfish to see it. My phone rings at exactly midnight. The caller ID shows Mom's number, and for a moment I consider not answering. But curiosity wins. Maya? Mom's voice is small, broken. I know it's late, but I can't sleep. I keep thinking about everything we've lost, everything we're about to lose. I'm sorry, Mom. I wish there was more I could do to help. You've already done so much, sweetheart. Just by being here, by staying loyal to this family, I know we haven't always been the best parents to you. We got so caught up in Lily's career, in Dad's business success, we took you for granted. The admission hangs in the air between us. In my first life, I would have seized this moment, forgiven them instantly, assured them that it didn't matter. This time, I let the silence stretch until it becomes uncomfortable. Maya, are you still there? I'm here, Mom. I want you to know that we love you, that we've always loved you, even when we didn't show it properly. You're our daughter, and that means everything to us. I love you too, Mom, I say, and it's true, even though love isn't enough anymore. Love without respect is just pity. Love without attention is just obligation. Love without sacrifice is just words. 3 weeks later, the dominoes fall in rapid succession. Dad is arrested at his office, led away in handcuffs while his employees watch in shock. Mom is indicted for charity fraud, her foundation permanently dissolved. Lily accepts a plea deal that requires her to serve 18 months in minimum security prison in exchange for her testimony. I watch the news coverage from my penthouse, sipping champagne while reporters detail the downfall of the Chen family empire. The anchor describes them as an upscale family whose greed and corruption caught up with them, completely unaware that their youngest daughter is watching from a 42nd floor apartment worth more than their seized assets combined. My phone has been ringing constantly, friends, former classmates, distant relatives, all wanting to express their sympathy and fish for details. I let most calls go to voicemail, playing the role of the devastated daughter too overwhelmed to speak publicly. The one call I do answer comes from Margaret Henderson. Miss Chen, I wanted to express my condolences about your family's situation. I know this must be incredibly difficult for you. Thank you, Miss Henderson. It's been a challenging time. If you need any assistance with legal matters, financial planning, or personal security, my firm is at your disposal. Your family's notoriety may attract unwanted attention. I appreciate that. Actually, there is something you could help me with. Of course. I'd like to establish a scholarship fund, something focused on supporting students who've been overlooked or underestimated by their families. I want to help young people who understand what it's like to be invisible. That's a beautiful gesture, Miss Chen. Turning tragedy into purpose. How much are you thinking of endowing? 10 million to start. We can grow it from there. The silence on the line stretches long enough that I wonder if we've been disconnected. Finally, Margaret speaks, her voice carefully controlled. Miss Chen, forgive me, but given your family's financial difficulties, how are you able to make such a substantial donation? My finances are completely separate from my family's, Miss Henderson. I've been planning for this possibility for quite some time. Another pause. I see. Yes, of course we can help you establish the scholarship fund. Might I suggest we call it the Maya Chen Foundation for Overlooked Potential? Perfect. I agree. I want my name on it. I want people to know exactly who's behind it. After we hang up, I walk out to my balcony and look down at the city where my family is learning to live with the consequences of their choices. In my first life, they inherited millions when I died young and alone. This time, I'm inheriting their entire world while they learn what it feels like to be forgotten. The news van pulls up to my parents' house just as I knew it would. I watch from my car, parked across the street with tinted windows, as reporters swarm the front yard like vultures. Mom appears at the door, looking haggard and desperate, shouting no comment, while flashbulbs explode in her face. Dad emerges from the garage carrying a box of personal belongings, his bail conditions preventing him from entering the house without supervision. He looks older, smaller, defeated. The reporters surge toward him, microphones thrust forward like weapons. Mr. Chen, how do you respond to allegations that you stole millions from taxpayers? Mr. Chen, is it true your daughter was involved in money laundering? Mr. Chen, where is the missing money? He pushes through the crowd without speaking, his face a mask of controlled rage. I remember that expression from my childhood, the look he wore when things didn't go according to his plans, when people failed to show him the respect he believed he deserved. He climbs into his aging sedan and drives away, leaving Mom to face the media circus alone. I feel a moment of something that might be pity watching her struggle with the reporter's questions. She looks fragile, vulnerable, nothing like the polished socialite who forgot my birthday 6 months ago. Then, I remember the voice recording of her explaining how she had to prioritize Lily's needs over mine, and the pity evaporates. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Maya, this is Lily. They let me keep my phone until I report to prison next week. I wanted to say goodbye and thank you for everything you've done for our family. You're the only one who stayed loyal. I love you. I stare at the message for a long time before responding. I love you too, Lily. I hope prison gives you time to think about the choices that led us here. Her reply comes quickly. I think about them every day. I think about how selfish I was, how I took you for granted. If I could go back and change things, I would. But you can't, I type back. None of us can. We just have to live with the consequences of our choices. Maya, can I ask you something? Of course. Are you angry with us? For how we treated you all these years? I consider my response carefully. Honesty? Mercy? More lies? Finally, I settle on a version of the truth. I was angry for a very long time, but anger is exhausting, Lily. Now I'm just free. Free? Free to build my own life without waiting for scraps of attention from people who didn't value me. Free to choose my own family from people who actually see me. I see you now, she types. I see how strong you are, how generous. I see what an amazing sister you've always been. You see me now because you need me, I reply. That's not the same thing. The typing indicator appears and disappears several times before her final message arrives. You're right, I'm sorry, Maya, for everything. I don't respond. There's nothing left to say. 6 months later, I'm standing in the ballroom of the Grand Metropole Hotel, surrounded by the city's most influential citizens, celebrating the launch of the Maya Chen Foundation for Overlooked Potential. The event has raised $3 million in its first night, with donations pouring in from people who never knew my name 6 months ago, but now consider supporting my cause a social necessity. The guest list is carefully curated. Successful entrepreneurs who built empires from nothing, artists who were rejected by traditional institutions, scientists whose groundbreaking work was initially dismissed, people who understand what it means to be underestimated and chose to prove their worth rather than demand recognition. I give a brief speech about the importance of recognizing potential in unexpected places, about the tragedy of talent wasted due to family dysfunction or social prejudice. The audience hangs on every word, many of them nodding in recognition of their own struggles. Too often, I conclude, we waste human potential because we're looking in the wrong places or measuring against the wrong standards. The Maya Chen Foundation exists to ensure that brilliant, capable people don't slip through the cracks simply because they don't fit someone else's definition of worthiness. The applause is thunderous. As I step down from the podium, I'm surrounded by well-wishers, donors, and young students who've already benefited from early scholarship awards. A local news crew captures interviews with the recipients, brilliant young people whose families couldn't or wouldn't support their ambitions. Near the end of the evening, my assistant approaches with a concerned expression. Miss Chen, there's someone here who'd like to speak with you. She says she's your mother? I look toward the ballroom entrance and see her, Mom, standing just inside the doorway wearing a dress I recognize from years ago. Her hair styled but obviously done at home rather than a salon. She looks small in this grand space, overwhelmed by the opulence that was once routine in her life. Should I have security escort her out? My assistant asks quietly. I study my mother's face from across the room. She's not here to cause a scene. Her posture is too humble, too uncertain. She's here to see what her forgotten daughter has become, to witness the life I built from the ashes of their neglect. No, I say finally. Give us 5 minutes. I cross the ballroom to where she waits, conscious of the curious glances from guests who recognize her from the news coverage. She looks up as I approach, her eyes taking in my designer gown, my professional styling, the confident way I move through this world of wealth and influence. Maya, she says softly, you look incredible. This whole event, everything you've accomplished. Thank you for coming, Mom. I wasn't sure you'd heard about it. It's been all over the news. My daughter, the philanthropist. My daughter, the success story. Her voice breaks slightly. Maya, I had no idea you had this kind of money, this kind of influence. How did you? I invested wisely, I say simply. I planned ahead. I prepared for a future where I couldn't depend on anyone else. She nods slowly, understanding dawning in her eyes. You've built all of this while our family was falling apart. I built this because our family fell apart, I correct gently. Because I learned that waiting for recognition from people who can't see you is a waste of precious time. Maya, your father and I, we know we failed you. We know we took you for granted, prioritized the wrong things, made terrible choices. If we could go back... But you can't, I interrupt, echoing my words to Lily months ago. None of us can go back, Mom. We can only move forward with the wisdom we've gained. She reaches into her purse and pulls out a small wrapped package. I brought you something. It's not much, but it's your birthday gift from last year. I never gave it to you. I stare at the package, remembering that birthday dinner where I sat alone while they celebrated elsewhere. The gift feels heavier than it should, weighted with all the missed opportunities and forgotten moments between us. Open it, she says, her voice barely above a whisper. Inside is a simple silver necklace with a small pendant, a tree with deep roots and reaching branches. It's supposed to represent family, she explains. How we're all connected, how we support each other through good times and bad. Her laugh is bitter. I realize now how naive that was, how hypocritical. I hold the necklace up to the light, watching it catch the gleam from the ballroom's chandeliers. It's beautiful, Mom. Thank you. Maya, I know it's too late for apologies. I know we destroyed any chance of a real relationship with you, but I want you to know that seeing you tonight, seeing what you've become, I'm proud of you. I'm so incredibly proud. Are you proud of me or are you proud of my success? I ask quietly. The question hits her like a physical blow. She takes a step back, her hand clutching her purse. I I don't know how to answer that. That's an answer in itself, I say. Mom, I hope you and Dad find a way to rebuild your lives. I hope you learn from this experience and become better people. But I can't be part of that process. I can't keep setting myself on fire to keep you warm. I understand, she whispers. Maya, can I ask you one thing? What? Do you forgive us? Not for our sake, but for yours. I don't want you carrying anger for the rest of your life. I consider the question seriously, looking around the ballroom at the life I've built from their neglect. I don't carry anger anymore, Mom. I carry purpose. You taught me that love without action is meaningless, that attention without respect is worthless, that family loyalty is earned, not inherited. Those were valuable lessons, even if you didn't mean to teach them. She nods, tears streaming down her cheeks. Goodbye, Maya. I love you. I love you too, Mom, but love isn't enough anymore. I watch her leave, her figure small and defeated against the grand backdrop of my new life. Several guests approach to ask if I'm all right, their concern genuine but unnecessary. I'm more than all right. I'm exactly where I belong. As the evening winds down and the last guests depart, I stand alone in the empty ballroom, still wearing my gown, the silver necklace from my mother warm against my skin. My assistant approaches with the final fundraising numbers. We've exceeded every goal, raised enough money to fund hundreds of scholarships for overlooked young people. Miss Chen, this was an incredible success. The foundation is going to change so many lives. That's the point, I reply. Every student we support is someone who might have fallen through the cracks, someone whose potential might have been wasted because their family couldn't see their worth. Like you? She asks gently. Like me, I agree, but they won't have to wait as long as I did to find their power. I drive home through the quiet city streets, the lights reflecting off my windshield like fallen stars. In my penthouse, I change out of my gown and pour myself a glass of champagne, toasting my reflection in the floor-to-ceiling windows. Tomorrow, I'll wake up in my own space, surrounded by success I built with my own hands, respected by people who value my mind and my vision. I'll spend my days supporting young people who understand what it means to be invisible, helping them transform their pain into purpose the way I transformed mine. In my first life, I died at 32, alone and forgotten, while my family celebrated elsewhere. In this life, I'm 24, surrounded by chosen family who see my worth, building a legacy that will outlast the people who tried to diminish me. And they wanted me to be invisible, so I became a ghost, haunting their comfortable world until it collapsed around them. They wanted me to be grateful for scraps, so I became a feast, too rich for their diminished appetites. They wanted me to disappear, so I became unforgettable, a name that will outlive their shame. The city spreads out below me, full of overlooked potential and hidden brilliance. Somewhere out there are young people whose families don't see them, whose talents are dismissed, whose dreams are considered unworthy. Tomorrow, I'll continue the work of finding them, supporting them, showing them that being underestimated is just another word for having room to surprise everyone. I raise my glass to the woman I used to be, the girl who died alone, begging for love from people who couldn't see her worth. Thank you, I whisper to her memory. Your pain taught me how to build something beautiful. The champagne tastes like victory, like justice, like the birthday wish I never dared to make in my first life finally coming true. I am no longer the forgotten daughter, the invisible sister, the disappointing child. I am Maya Chen, philanthropist, entrepreneur, architect of my own destiny, and I am exactly enough.